Hello, friends. Today I want to talk about something difficult but necessary. Something many of us men don't like to think about, but we should. What happens when the love of your life, your partner of decades, is suddenly no longer by your side? I remember my friend Robert. After 47 years of marriage, his wife Helen passed away unexpectedly. I wasn't prepared, he told me, his voice breaking. We did all the paperwork, the will, the finances, but nobody prepared me for the silence in the house, for how to live without her. Did you know that widowers over 65 face a 66% higher risk of passing away in the first 3 months after losing their spouse? It's called the widowhood effect, and it's very real. The grief can actually make you physically sick if not handled properly. But here's the good news. Understanding what not to do can be just as important as knowing what to do during this difficult time. The mistakes I'm about to share are ones I've seen good men make time and again, and they often made their grief journey much harder than it needed to be. These 7 points might just save you from months or even years of additional heartache. And please, stay until the end. The last point is something almost no one talks about, yet it's often the difference between those who eventually find peace and those who struggle for years. So, what should you avoid if your beloved wife passes before you? Let's talk about it. Mistake number 1, isolating yourself from others. One of the most dangerous mistakes you can make after losing your wife is to shut everyone out. Many men think they need to be strong and handle grief alone. Let me tell you about Frank, a 68-year-old retired engineer I know. When his wife Diana passed after 41 years together, he stopped answering phone calls, canceled family dinners. His daughter would knock on his door, and he'd pretend not to be home. I just couldn't bear to see the pity in their eyes, he admitted later. What Frank didn't understand is that isolation actually changes your brain chemistry. When you're grieving, your body produces stress hormones like cortisol at higher levels. Social connection helps regulate these hormones. Without that regulation, your immune system weakens, your blood pressure rises, and your risk of depression skyrockets. In fact, studies show that social isolation increases mortality risk by nearly 30% for older adults. Here's what you can do instead. Start small. You don't need to host dinner parties or attend large gatherings. Begin with just one person, a trusted friend, a sibling, or an adult child. Invite them for coffee once a week. If talking feels too hard, watch a ball game together or work on a simple project side by side. The presence of another human being can be healing even without many words. Men's grief support groups exist specifically for widowers. These groups understand the unique challenges men face when grieving. You'll meet others who don't offer empty platitudes because they truly understand what you're going through. Think about this. Your wife would want you to have support. She wouldn't want you suffering alone in an empty house. Sometimes accepting help honors her caring spirit. Have you ever found yourself pulling away from others during difficult times? Type support in the comments if you've experienced this, or if you're willing to reach out if the time comes. If you are still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment mistake number 1 below to let me know you are here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Mistake number 2, making major life decisions too quickly. In the fog of grief, your decision-making abilities aren't at their best. Yet many widowers rush into major life changes, often with disastrous results. My neighbor Carl sold his family home just 3 weeks after his wife, Margaret, passed away. I couldn't stand seeing her garden, her kitchen, her touch everywhere, he explained. 6 months later, he deeply regretted the decision. The new apartment never felt like home, and he lost the comfort of familiar surroundings and neighbors who had known both him and Margaret for decades. There's a scientific reason behind this poor decision-making. Grief actually affects your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for planning, logical thinking, and impulse control. Brain scans of recently bereaved individuals show activity patterns similar to those experiencing physical pain. Your brain is literally in a state of trauma, making it the worst possible time to make life-altering decisions. Financial advisors who specialize in working with seniors have a common recommendation: follow the 1-year rule. That means avoiding these major decisions for at least 12 months after your spouse's passing. Selling your home, moving to a new city, making large investments or donations, getting rid of your wife's belongings, starting a new romantic relationship. Instead, give yourself permission to postpone big decisions. If family members press you about what you're going to do with the house or other matters, have a prepared response. I'm not making any major changes until at least a year has passed. I need time to think clearly. For urgent decisions that can't wait, bring in a trusted friend, adult child, or professional advisor as a sounding board. Tell them you value their objective perspective during this emotional time. Remember, grief isn't something that follows a tidy timeline. The first year includes all those firsts. First birthday without her, first anniversary, first holidays. Allow yourself to move through these milestones before deciding what your new life will look like. Have you ever made a quick decision during an emotional time that you later regretted? Or do you know someone who has? Share your experience by typing patience in the comments. Mistake number 3, neglecting your physical health. When grief takes hold, many men stop taking care of their bodies. This happens just when your physical health needs the most attention. My friend James lost his wife Ellen after her long battle with cancer. He had been her devoted caregiver for years. When she passed, James stopped taking his blood pressure medication, missed doctor appointments, existed on coffee and whatever frozen meals his daughter would bring over. Within months, he was in the emergency room with dangerously high blood pressure. I just didn't see the point anymore, he told me from his hospital bed. Ellen was always the one who made sure I took care of myself. What James didn't realize was that grief creates actual physical stress on your body. Research has found that losing a spouse can weaken your immune system for up to 6 months. Your blood pressure may rise, sleep becomes disrupted, even your heart can be affected. Doctors recognize a condition called broken heart syndrome, where intense grief causes symptoms that mimic a heart attack. At a time when your body is under extraordinary stress, neglecting basic health needs creates a dangerous downward spiral. Many widowers don't realize they're putting themselves at risk of joining their wives far sooner than necessary. Here's a simple approach. Create a basic health maintenance checklist. Put it somewhere visible, like on your refrigerator. Include medications, with times to take them. Water intake, aim for 6 to 8 glasses daily. At least 1 proper meal per day. A short daily walk or other physical activity. Upcoming doctor appointments. If managing medications becomes overwhelming, ask your pharmacist about pill organizers or even prepackaged medication services that sort your pills by day and time. Accept help with meals. If friends or family offer to bring food, say yes. Many churches and community organizations have meal delivery programs specifically for seniors. Eating properly isn't just about hunger, it's about giving your body the fuel it needs during this stressful time. And don't underestimate the power of simple movement. A 10-minute walk around the block can improve your mood, help you sleep better, and strengthen your heart. Your body is carrying the heavy weight of grief. Give it every advantage to stay strong. If you've struggled with taking care of your health during a difficult time, or if you're committed to maintaining your health even through grief, type health in the comments below. Mistake number 4, trying to numb the pain with alcohol or medication. When the pain of loss feels unbearable, it's tempting to find something, anything to dull that ache. This is a trap many widowers fall into, sometimes without realizing how quickly it becomes dangerous. Take Howard, a 70-year-old retired accountant. After losing Elaine, his wife of 46 years, he started having a few drinks every evening to help me sleep. Those few drinks gradually became many. 6 months later, his daughter became concerned when he showed up slurring his words at his grandson's birthday party. I didn't think I had a problem, Howard later admitted. I was just trying to get through the nights. What Howard didn't understand is that alcohol and grief create a particularly dangerous combination, especially for seniors. Alcohol disrupts your natural sleep patterns, making quality rest impossible. It dampens the immune system, which is already compromised by grief. And as we age, our bodies process alcohol differently. The same amount has a stronger effect than when we were younger. Even more concerning, alcohol is a depressant. While it might temporarily numb painful feelings, it actually deepens depression over time. When the alcohol wears off, the grief is still there, often feeling even more intense by comparison. The same risks apply to misusing prescription medications. Some widowers find themselves taking extra doses of sleep aids or pain medications, seeking relief from emotional pain. This path becomes dangerous very quickly. A healthier approach is to acknowledge that grief pain serves a purpose. As difficult as it is, working through grief rather than numbing it is the only path to eventual healing. Instead of reaching for a drink or an extra pill, try these alternatives. Call a friend or family member when the pain feels overwhelming. Use physical activity to release emotional tension. Even gentle movement helps. Write in a journal about your feelings and memories. Listen to music that you find comforting. Join a grief support group where others understand what you're experiencing. If you're already concerned about your use of alcohol or medications, talk to your doctor honestly. They can help you find safer ways to manage grief symptoms, like insomnia or anxiety. Many communities have senior-specific substance support programs that understand the unique challenges you're facing. Remember that numbing the pain only postpones it. It doesn't make it go away. Finding healthier coping mechanisms honors both your wife's memory and your own continuing life. Have you ever found yourself turning to unhelpful coping mechanisms during difficult times? Or do you know someone who has struggled with this? Type coping in the comments if this resonates with you. Mistake number 5, letting guilt take over. After losing a spouse, guilt arrives in many forms. Guilt about things said or unsaid. Guilt about surviving when she didn't. Guilt about moments of happiness that come after loss. This invisible burden can become crushing if left unchecked. I remember William, a 74-year-old retired teacher. His wife Patricia had asked to go to the beach for their anniversary, but William had postponed the trip because of mild back pain. She passed away suddenly 3 weeks later. 2 years after her death, he was still torturing himself about that missed trip. "I should have taken her to see the ocean one last time," he told me, tears in his eyes. "How could I have been so selfish?" What William couldn't see was how this guilt was preventing him from healing. He was punishing himself for being imperfectly human, something we all are. Psychologists who specialize in grief explain that guilt often stems from our need to find order in chaos. We want to believe we could have controlled the uncontrollable. If only we had done something differently, maybe the outcome would have changed. This gives us an illusion of control in a world that suddenly feels very unpredictable. But this thinking creates a prison of regret that your wife would never want for you. Most widowers report that guilt diminishes their ability to remember the good times. The guilt-laden memories become the loudest, drowning out the joyful ones. Here are steps to begin addressing guilt. First, write down your specific guilt thoughts. Getting them out of your head and onto paper helps you examine them more objectively. Next, ask yourself, what would I tell a friend who expressed this same guilt? We're often much kinder to others than to ourselves. Would you condemn a friend for not being perfect, for being human? Then, practice forgiveness statements. These might feel uncomfortable at first, but try saying, "I forgive myself for not being perfect. I loved her the best way I knew how." Remember that your wife knew you, flaws and all, and chose to share her life with you. Honor her choice by treating yourself with the same compassion she would show you. For deeper guilt that doesn't respond to these techniques, grief counseling can be tremendously helpful. Many counselors specialize in working with seniors and understand the unique challenges of losing a spouse after decades together. Have you struggled with feelings of guilt after a loss or difficult situation? Or have you found ways to move past guilt? Type forgiveness in the comments if this speaks to your experience. Mistake number 6, disposing of her belongings too quickly. After a wife passes, her belongings remain: clothes in the closet, personal items on the dresser, the reading glasses by her favorite chair. Many widowers, in an attempt to ease their pain, rush to clear these reminders away. This often becomes a decision they deeply regret. Consider George, a 77-year-old retired postal worker. 2 weeks after his wife Barbara died, he gathered all her clothes, jewelry, and personal items and donated everything to charity. "I couldn't bear to look at her things," he explained. 6 months later, when his granddaughter asked if she could have her grandmother's pearl necklace to wear at her wedding, George was devastated to realize it was gone forever. What he hadn't understood is that physical objects hold memories and connections that may become precious later in the grief journey. Items that initially trigger pain can later become sources of comfort. Memory researchers explain that objects connected to our loved ones serve as external memory storage. They help us access memories and maintain bonds with those we've lost. These items become increasingly important as we age, serving as tangible connections to our shared history. Instead of rushing to clear everything away, consider this measured approach. First, give yourself permission to leave things untouched for a while. There's no timeline for when or if you need to clear your wife's belongings. When you do feel ready to begin the process, sort items into 3 categories. Things to keep, items with special meaning or practical use. Things to share, items family members or friends might treasure. Things to donate, items that could benefit others. For particularly meaningful objects that you're not ready to part with but find painful to see daily, create a memory box to store them safely until you might want to revisit them. Many widowers find comfort in repurposing certain items. A quilt made from favorite clothing pieces, jewelry redesigned into new pieces for daughters or granddaughters, or a special display of meaningful objects can transform pain triggers into comfort sources. Remember that you don't have to handle this task alone. Ask a patient friend or family member to help you when you're ready. Having support can make the process less overwhelming. Most importantly, move at your own pace. Some items you may never want to part with, and that's perfectly okay. There's no right or wrong way to handle your wife's belongings, as long as the approach brings you peace rather than additional pain. Have you ever had to sort through a loved one's belongings? Or are you concerned about this task in the future? Type memories in the comments if this topic resonates with you. If you are still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment mistake number 6 below to let me know you are here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you.
Mistake number 7.
Believing you'll never find joy again. Perhaps the most devastating mistake I see among widowers is surrendering to the belief that life will never hold happiness again, that meaningful living ended when she drew her last breath. My friend Edward, a 69-year-old retired engineer, spent 3 years after his wife Susan's passing essentially waiting to die. "What's the point?" he would say when invited to family gatherings or community events. He existed rather than lived, convinced that joy had permanently departed from his life. What Edward couldn't see from within his grief was that joy doesn't require forgetting. Finding new meaning doesn't dishonor your wife's memory. Quite the opposite. Most wives would be heartbroken to think their passing sentenced their husbands to years of joyless existence. Grief researchers have discovered something remarkable. While grief doesn't truly end, it eventually transforms. The early raw pain gradually evolves into what some call integrated grief, where sadness coexists with the capacity for joy. The human heart has a remarkable ability to expand to hold both. One widower described it beautifully. "I carry my grief in my left pocket and my joy in my right. Both are always with me now." The path back to joy begins with tiny steps, not grand gestures. Start by simply noticing small pleasures: the taste of good coffee, sunlight through the trees, the voice of a grandchild. These brief moments matter tremendously. Next, consider what has always given your life meaning. Was it helping others, creating things with your hands, learning new ideas? These core values remain, even in grief, and can guide you back to purposeful living. Many widowers discover that helping others who are suffering provides a profound path to healing. Volunteer work, mentoring younger men, or supporting other widowers can transform pain into purpose. It's also important to understand that finding new joy doesn't mean forgetting your wife or the love you shared. That love shaped who you are. Any future happiness grows from the foundation of that love, not in spite of it. I'll share what finally helped Edward turn a corner. His 4-year-old granddaughter climbed into his lap one day and asked, "Grandpa, why are you always sad?" That innocent question penetrated his grief fog. He realized he was teaching this child that life ends when loss comes. The next day, he called his doctor about grief counseling and took his first small step toward living again. Remember this: reclaiming joy isn't betrayal. It's the ultimate way to honor the love and life you shared with your wife. Have you found ways to experience joy after loss? Or are you struggling to see how happiness could be possible again? Type hope in the comments if you believe joy can eventually return, even after profound loss. Friends, I know this hasn't been an easy topic. Thinking about life without your beloved wife stirs deep emotions, but I hope these 7 points have given you something valuable, a roadmap of pitfalls to avoid if you ever walk this difficult path. Remember, grief isn't something to get over. It's something to move through one day at a time. The love you and your wife shared doesn't disappear. It transforms. And while nothing can prepare you completely for such a profound loss, understanding these common mistakes might help you navigate the journey with a bit more grace and a little less pain. I'd like to ask you to reflect for a moment. Has this conversation brought up thoughts about your own life? Perhaps you're walking through grief right now, or maybe you're thinking about how to prepare for whatever the future holds. I'd be honored if you'd share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experiences and wisdom matter, not just to me, but to other viewers who might be walking a similar path and feeling very alone. This channel is about building a community where we support each other through life's most challenging moments. If you found value in today's discussion, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us continue creating content that addresses the real issues we face as we age with dignity and purpose. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. Remember that healing isn't linear, and there's no timeline for grief. You are not alone on this journey.